ESL Pro League Season 10, and I'm ready to get into Overpass. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, Overpass in the cards here today, Tom. It's going to be a crazy set of matches, and finally, by the end of today, we're going to know which is the first team making it through straight into the finals over in Denmark. And currently, the Betway odds will be favoring MIBR, but I don't know if they're going to continue to stay that way. Furia, yeah, they looked kind of vulnerable yesterday, but they did have two 16-14s, and it eventually lose to Envy. But now they're going to be on the T side, pushing straight through, and Lucas trying to defend. Look at the player towards Toxic, though. Taco, will they expect him to be here, or will he shine bright like a diamond?
Oh, he's sneaky. Right in the back. They spot him, though, and he doesn't get anything. Just waited that little bit too long. Wanted more and got nothing at all. KNG trying to get back in, but it's Henny to pick off another. He's probably been one of the best pistol players we've had so far, in fact. Really doing work in these pistol rounds. Fur is going to be able to trade one, but that is all. And Furia off to a flying start. A quick B play to kick off this map. And that is it.
No, we're done. Congratulations to Furia. You were qualified into Odense. You made it through to the finals. Never would have expected it. It's actually coming down to just that one round pick.
Yeah. Well, that was it. The brothers just couldn't take it. They were like, no, it's too much stress. Let's just put it all on one pistol round.
Yeah.
Winner takes it all. No, of course not. That would be silly. A bit like us.
Looking at Taco, though, hiding in Toxic, how many times over these last 2 days have we seen players go for those delayed plays and waiting for the right moment to strike for it to just not work out for them?
Yeah, at the same time, there's still been some fantastic ones. I think Fur has been probably the best when it comes to trigger discipline. Like the 2 kills he managed to get on short barrage just by negating the player in jungle. Like I think he's definitely one that has been fantastic in these sort of moments. Of course, this round is somewhat of a simplistic cleanup for Furia. It is just MIBR waiting to get themselves a purchase into the next round.
I think the most fun that we're going to have in this matchup, besides the match alone, is the fact of having the twins play against each other, having that potential. Just imagine, 14,
I want a hashtag of which twin will win.
Is that the hashtag?
Yeah, hashtag which twin will win, and then you put at the end who you think's going to win, Henny or Lucas.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
I might be the only one who does it, but
it probably will be the only one that does it. But you know what? I will support you, Tom, because we're here casting together. But to have them just come down to like one-on-one situations and just the mind games that must happen between the two brothers. Exactly. Everyone always talks about, you know, brothers and twins having that kind of synergy and that kind of mental connection between each other.
I'm just imagining like Charles Xavier like putting his fingers onto his forehead and just being like, he's
being a Cerebro in here for them.
Ooh, Vinny has managed to get the opener. They've gone for a fast play again. Finally a purchase in. And he's just continuing forward. Manages to get another. However, Fallen's traded 2 back. He's been good in his new role as of what we've seen so far in this tournament. They've still got some presence here. Henny hoping to try and pop the head of KNG as Quesarado rounding the corner, and he's the one to open this side up once more. Art can't win the battle versus Fur, and neither can Quesarado on KNG. However, they're so desperately low. It's going to be left onto Henny to try and clutch this ones out. We've seen, again, a lot of clutch situations from him. Does connect, but doesn't do enough damage. Takes a little bit himself and just waiting to see if KNG is going to be the one to peek. That's the problem, though. Neither player on MIBR can be the one to take the initiative or bait for another because they're both so desperately low on HP that they kind of have to just try and play this one together, but not too close because they don't want to line up. So they peek one, and now it's left with Henny trying to close it, and he will. A great clutch, and already you can see him getting vocal.
We got to talk to him, actually, before the match even started. He came into the green room, and I actually asked him, like, are you nervous to play against your brother? And I like the answer he gave me. He's like, not really, because I'm a professional, and it's just like another day at the job.
Yeah.
But he did say he was a little bit anxious when it came to the match, and obviously this is like a bit nice standard to set of which brother's the better brother.
Well, I think he basically said he's not worried about the match as a whole, but he is the fact, like a little bit in the fact that he is playing against his brother, and that's not really happened before. So it's something new. Like you don't really know if it is going to affect your gameplay because they were always on the same team. So it's definitely something interesting. Bit of investment already coming in for the CT side. Not anything too much, just a few pistols, and this is a good chance for Furia to make themselves a little bit of extra money. The B side wasn't really the place where MIBR put the majority of their pieces, so this will be a fairly comfortable plant in the end. And for the CT side, I'm just going to attempt to do a bit of damage. Don't allow their opponents to really build up that bank.
try. And again, Taka, how many times have we seen him with the Deagle? Hit some wild shots and able to pull things back and make rounds expensive for the opposing teams, but again, not able to rescue the weapon. I don't think they're going to have a chance to. Fur trying to drop in from behind. K-Strato just waiting. K-Strato's going to win out on that trade. Now it's just Taka by himself, and I imagine eventually he will fall, especially if he sticks around with only 14 HP. Oh my gosh, how does he get across there and get some damage onto Henny? But there we go. Fury off to a phenomenal start here, Tom. And honestly, I know we all voted for MIBR to win the match, and to be fair, I think we all have a right to, considering how the matches have looked over these last 2 days, but you can't deny there is that potential for Furia to get riled up. We already saw Henny getting excited for the prior rounds in the 1v2. And it's an important match for them, because it's a battle for the King of Brazil. It's a battle to be the best team from the region. Obviously, Furia had to look up to MIBR for such a long time with what Fallen's been able to do, helping put Brazilian Counter-Strike back on the scene, or in the scene on CSGO. And then to beat a team like that, to topple them and call yourselves the best from Brazil would be a fantastic sight.
Well, the other thing as well is it's not set in stone, but the likelihood is the winner of this match will be the one going through top of the group. And so if that's the case, not only are you managing to win a match that neither team have ever played before, they've never played against each other, but you're also going to do it to get your place in the Pro League finals. Like, that is massive, even for either side. Like, even if you take MIBR, who've been at like hundreds of like top tournaments, like, they've had the fall from grace. They've had the moment where they were playing with their coach. Things really didn't work for them. They've had coldzera leaving the team and like moving on and going to FaZe. And now they've rebuilt and looking to try and do this once again and get back to the top. Furia, even in a similar scenario where they're going, we had that moment where we were top 5 in the world. We've now, again, fallen back down. We've made a change. We've come back. And we're trying to build back up to the top. And yeah, obviously the first being maybe named as the best in Brazil for the first time that they fought each other, but also like saying, okay, we're now on our rise back to the top.
In both teams, I think.
Yeah,
as you can say, they've been trying to fight for that rise back again, and Furio just, I mean, wanted to get into the Pro League. They just wanted to participate, and then to play against their brethren team in the same group it's a daunting task for them. But to be fair, even though with that loss versus Envy, they still look, collected. They still look generally calm, and we did see some good signs out of them. Like, for instance, Art, again, he wasn't as able as day one to be aggressive and to push out through smokes and catch people off guard, but there were some signs of it. And I'm really interested to see how things will go, obviously, onto Train, because at the moment, Furia have the better results on Overpass, and MIBR have the better results on Train. But Mirage, I feel like that's the best map we could possibly have to end out this series if we get to it. Between these two teams, between Art trying to be aggressive, Fur trying to do the same as well, and of course the Twins going head-to-head. It's just going to be some really stupendous Counter-Strike to watch today.
Yeah, for sure. And I think on Mirage as well, like the impact that the two players have is pretty much as a pinnacle. Like the double AWP setup, one man I'm relying on to sort of break that down when they're on the T side is going to be Henny, and then Lucas is the entry fragger and one of the sort of big anchor players when it comes to their B side. Like, you have to remember, like, okay, sure, you've got the double AWPs to find you a lot of the picks, but they need those other players as the supporting cast on that CT side. So yeah, it's definitely going to be one of those matchups that will be exciting. I think the last one of the day as well is it could be that relegation match as well. So we've got quite lucky in the way that the group actually panned out, because the chances are we were looking at a sort of very clean-cut way where like both of these teams would comfortably be through at this point. The other two teams would comfortably be like well, not comfortably, they would be in trouble. And so it would the fact that Envy managed to make things a little bit more exciting yesterday. But I do also think that, sure, Envy played very well, and I think they stepped up to the mark. But both maps, at least the last two, looked like Furia struggled to close them out. So that doesn't necessarily, like, obviously that's a big flaw, but that means that they were in the right place. They just couldn't actually close out these matches. So
well, they were doing a lot of forcing, right? Like, they were buying up in situations, and with such a lead, they didn't need to. They could have saved just one round.
One gun, and then it was like, okay, well, because we've got an AWP, we've got to buy, and it's like, well, you could not. Well,
the advantage is, though, for Furia, is that they did win a map in that series that they did lose, because all the other matches have been 2-0s.
Yeah.
So I think in general, I think they're safe. They're actually like through to, at a minimum, the second group stage, but they have a big advantage over all the other teams just because they took that one map up against Envy.
Yeah, of course, the way if we actually look at this as well when it comes to MIBR. They have kept everything in their own hands. I think like that's the best way I can put it. Is like
The fate's in their own hands.
if you win all your matches, you're through. Like you don't have to worry about anybody else. Like I think that's the best way to be. Whereas for Furia, if they lose this match, it then becomes a little bit confusing. And even if they win, it becomes confusing. Like I don't want to be the one.
How dare you, Furia, make things confusing for us in the admin
Like,
staff to figure it out. We had someone come
I like
in.
how you said for us. Like,
I mean,
I don't have to do anything.
I've been trying to explain it to us, and well, I can just say I thought I was back in like, uni listening to calculus.
Yeah. Let's put it this way: if it does all go into the most confusing like way that things could end, Dust is going to be the one explaining to you what happens.
Way to put it all on him, Tom. But I will fully support you. So Dust, hopefully you're ready to do that if we do hit that kind of situation. But I believe we might even have an interview with one of the admins to actually walk us through all the different possibilities.
Yeah, Dust can do it. It's fine. He knows what he's doing.
Well, Dust, if you need his room number, I can tell you where
I'm opposite him in the hotel.
Okay, well, now you know exactly where he is. We're going to take a look at a couple of the highlights from yesterday, I guess, between the Furia and the Envy match. And to be fair to Furia, I mean, they lost a nuke against them in Malmo just, just like a week ago. But they actually came back on nuke and decimated them at 16-9. So they show they can improve in the maps that they've previously lost on.
The thing that I think we've always learned from Counter-Strike is it's much easier to learn from your mistakes than it is from a victory. Like a lot of the times when you win, you're not going to go back through the demo and like pick it apart and say, we did this wrong, we did this wrong. Like most of the time,
me and a pro is I go back and look at only my victories and like, that was a nice shot.
That was a nice, yeah, but you're not going like, oh, that was bad. You're going, that was just
amazing.
That was that
I'm
one.
The best.
He got lucky that round.
I'm so tired of winning. I'm so tired of winning, Tom. It's so hard. But yeah, obviously, yeah, losses do provide a lot more. And again, there hasn't been too much time since Malmo. I mean, the thing is, the most rested teams coming into this entire group was MIBR and Swole Patrol. And MIBR have already had a lot of work cut out ahead of them, considering since Blast Moscow and V4, they weren't really able to practice with their new player on the team. But finally now KNG has been able to get settled a little bit, and they've looked good over the course of the last 2 days. They're not looking so good here on Overpass, as it's currently 0-4 against them. But I feel like they've had more time to really practice, hammer some things down, and fix what the problems were coming into those tournaments in the past.
Well, guys, I think we are having a few technical issues which are going to be sorted out. So I think we might have some more interesting stuff to show you rather than listening to us two waffle on.
I found out about Counter-Strike through my cousin. I was like 7 years old. I ended up getting it a couple years later with my brother. Me and him always went at it, trying to see like who's better and stuff. So it was definitely competitive between me and him.
Some friends of mine, they're playing Counter-Strike, and I have heard of the game, the Counter-Strike Global Offensive, but never really played it. And they just asked me to play with them, and I was just playing like a normal game. They are the first ones to say to me I should play, try to play professionally, because back then I had no idea this esports scene was so huge, because I was just playing games for fun.
I got introduced to Counter-Strike when I was 13-ish. I can't remember who. I think it was one of my good friends. I played on a football team with him or whatever. He was like showing me he was playing like DayZ and stuff, and then he was like, oh, let's start playing Counter-Strike, and this kind of started from there. I started playing Counter-Strike with him and all my buddies on the team. Here I am 5 years later.
I got introduced to Counter-Strike 2003. I went to a cyber cafe, a LAN house in Brazil with my brothers, and that's the first time I played it.
I was like a really competitive person, so I think the whole idea of playing like matchmaking and stuff and like seeing my rank go up was really like, I was like, that's kind of sick. I see myself improving every day. I think I like the whole idea of it, so.
Well, Jason, how did you get into Counter-Strike?
Well, funny enough, actually, back in 1984. No, so actually I got introduced to Counter-Strike.
When the dinosaurs roamed the earth. You do look a bit like a pterodactyl, to be fair.
Or any dinosaur that has a massive nose or is really tall. I'm a T-Rex. So how I got interested in Counter-Strike, actually, I think I was in high school at the time. And I never really played any like online games, I think. And a couple of friends of mine started actually playing it at the time. And I don't know why, but I was like too cheap to actually go out and buy the game. So instead, I went on MIRC, that's the client I used. And I was like asking around in chats. I was like, hey, does anyone have Counter-Strike that doesn't want it? And some guy, I don't even remember his name, which I should thank him obviously for him doing that. He's like, yeah, here, have my account. He like just literally gave me his account. And I remember the first map I ever played was Dust 2. Got absolutely destroyed.
I think everyone's
but I was addicted
first map
from there.
Dust 2.
Oh yeah, I mean, it has to be, right? It's one of the classics, or Dust 1, obviously. And then I remember just grinding that out for hours and hours and hours. None of my friends would play with me anymore because I was that guy that always took it serious and like walked, and they always made fun of me like, Jason, why are you walking all the time? I'm like, I want to win. Playing FY Snow against them, all the good times, pool day as well. That's how I got into it. And of course,
I think
that's
all these
one of the
maps
reasons
are
I got here.
before my time.
Really? Yeah, well, you are young.
I've only got like a 5-year coin, so I think I'm a bit of a scrub when it comes to that. How much is yours? Like 45? Does it even go that high?
About that,
They don't even have a coin. They just
Yeah.
have your face on it. They're just like, you're the OG.
The thing is, I remember like even transitioning to the CSGO source, or not CSGO source, CS source. Ooh, my bad. And my computer couldn't even handle it back then. Like my parents got me like a gaming PC, and it couldn't even play the game that well. I remember playing with 30 FPS, and I remember actually for all the Americans, maybe you remember this if you played back then, was called Source Radio. I can't remember the guy who actually ran it, and that's how I did actually my first broadcast ever. I heard the music.
That means shut up, Jason.
Shut up. We have a match. We want to hear about your old stories back before the internet was stable, and you didn't have to dial into.
Oh dear, this is very
far
quick.
into the round. I should have just stopped talking earlier.
Yeah, God, Jason, start the game. Either way, Taco looking to try and hold down this site Henny's supporting, and that is going to allow them a little bit more space. They've clearly gone for a fast play. I think that's why everybody's been caught off guard, and Yuri is going to leave it down to just KNG. But that's the thing. This round was so quick that they could even just run away. They don't have to fight this site. Yuri is just about going to be able to get around the corner, and I think at this point KNG might be a little bit confuzzled. He even goes for the fight, and somehow Yuri actually wins it. 4K for him in the round, 5-0 start for Furia, and, well, there's no stopping for them. They weren't phased by the pause at all.
No, not at all. And they actually took that pause as like, let's just rush it. Let's just continue to be fast-paced. It's working. It's working out very well against MIBR, as they're currently up 5-0. And you look on the side of, well, I was going to say the Brazilians, but obviously both teams are Brazilian.
The other Brazilians.
Yeah, the others. Fallen on 3. Lucas at 1, KNG at 1, and Taco at 2. So they're having a rough start, but they haven't had too many gun rounds, and they haven't really had an opportunity, I guess, to fill out their opposition. But again, as we mentioned, this is a very big match for, I think, for both these two teams, and I think more so for Furia. As I mentioned before, it can kind of be crowned the kings of Brazil if they can take this match, beating a team who they probably always looked up to.
It depends the way you look at it, though, because in ranking-wise, Fury have been above them for quite a while. So you could put the other way around and say this is either for them to confirm themselves as like the best Brazilian team, or for MIBR to reclaim it. So I think it's pretty big for either side, and I don't think there's anybody who's going to be taking this match lightly, especially considering what's at stake, like a chance to get towards the Pro League finals and fight against some of the best teams in the world. It's a big achievement for either side, and while already these pistols are not doing too well, it has been a couple of cleaner rounds coming in for Furia. Money starting to stack up on their side, which is a big worry, and they're looking for their 6th round on the T side already. And well, they're not really facing much resistance as of just yet. This is going to be flawless from Furia. And MIBR, this is where they have to start getting the rounds on the board. This is where the purchase comes in. I even wonder whether or not we'll get a double op setup. It's not that common on Overpass because AWPing the B site, a lot of the time it has to be very aggressive over onto Monster, or you're peeking all the way into short. At the same time, we saw them double AWP the A site of Vertigo, so you never know. They could do something like that. Not this time, however.
I think that's a massive investment if they went for that too. And considering how fast players Furia are playing, I don't know if that's the kind of solution they want to have for this aggressive style. And speaking of aggressive, yet again, they take the short control, going to push directly in towards the site. Vinny going to lead that charge, going to come around the corner, gets Lucas while he's completely blind. That's the first kill coming through. Looking for the second as well, and Taco has a head no more, falling on the site, going to get sprayed down. And Furia showing no signs of stopping here, Tom.
Yeah, this is just fast blast plays right out on towards that B site. And at the moment, MIBR can't do anything about it. This is actually quite surprising how easy this is coming across for Furia. They have not done anything too special. It's not like they've had some like crazy setups or ridiculous smokes. They've just been running in, headshotting their opposition, and leaving them with nothing left to do.
Tom, we've had 7 rounds now. And I'm going to give you a very easy math problem here. Out of those 7 rounds, how many of them have they gone B?
Is the answer 7?
It is 7. It is 7. How many times does it work, Tom?
Give me a sec. Wait.
7.
Wait, no, wait. Now it's 7.
Yes, it has. And we haven't seen really MIBR adapt too much. We haven't seen them play a couple of extra players. Even the early investment of utility hasn't worked out for them because they're just going to push around these smokes and hit these shots. And it's troubling times now for MIBR. And Fury's got to be ecstatic about this. This has to be...
You can see it by their faces.
Oh, yeah. I wish I could say what I want to say about you right now, Tom.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people on broadcast feel that way, but luckily we are saved by the fact that you're not allowed to. Pause taken, though.
Technically, the code of conduct I signed, I'm allowed it in the proper situation, if it's appropriate for the moment. But yeah, timeout coming in, and honestly, that should be coming through. MIBR are struggling so far in this matchup, 7-0. It's actually not, it's the other way around what you currently do see. They're not winning 7-0, though I bet they hope they were. As Fury is just continuing to steamroll them here. Will they just continue to hit B until they finally get stopped, or will they finally switch some things up?
They've changed. This could be interesting, actually, because this will be an aggressive push now from MIBR. They've looked to counter what has been happening. I don't blame them. If you go in the same direction for the majority of your rounds, then eventually somebody's going to start stacking things up on the other side of the map. There's currently 4 players on this B side. They've left Fur alone, which, to be honest, is not too much of a problem, but I like this from Furia. They've gone for these fast, aggressive rounds. They've sort of allowed for MIBR to get it in their head that they're going to continue to do that. They've used a lot of their utility, considering there's still 1:10 left on the clock. There's not that much. There's 1 smoke and 1 incendiary left for MIBR. Sure, they've taken a lot of map control, but now they're having to start to rotate players away just in case that Furia are going in the other direction. And while Art, he is going to be the aggressor, it is the player that pretty much Dust has gone, well, Art plays like Fur. Well, let's see who is the better Fur. Or who's the more artistic.
God damn it.
Yeah, that joke was for real, Jason.
It was surreal. Taco's going to take down Vinny, so they're able to get the first frag that they needed. But again, the rest of Fury going to be pushing in towards this site. Mr. to spot out Lucas and somehow wins that trade. Does lose a little bit of HP, but doesn't matter. Kenji's going to be there, and Kenji finally with the offhand hand is looking to lock down this site. Down to a 3-on-2 in favor of MIBR for one of the first times in this match. But they haven't closed it out just yet. And the bomb is in the hands of K-Serrato, so at least, well, it was in the hands of K-Serrato as Taco dislodges that. And finally, MIBR do stop the rot, 7-1. They take that first round.
Yeah, and it wasn't actually too much different other than the slow start that came out from their opponents. They did take a lot of aggressive map control to make it a bit more difficult for the T side, and that actually came into fruition when they were pushing back through short, is that they couldn't actually get through Monster onto the site because of Taco. He was just ready and waiting to deny anything more, stop them getting the bomb down, and, well, that will be their first round on the board.
Upside for Fury is that they had so much money, it's not really a big problem for them to lose that round. That was Henny's first death, by the way, if I read that correctly. 10-1. That's... He's come to play. And obviously, like I said before, when we got talking to him in the green room, he's definitely not nervous at all, as it's showing here on the server. And Vinny, these first kills are coming through so consistently for Fury that the one time MIBR's gotten it was the round they won, and Taco flashed up still is managing to take down 2.
He almost gets a 3rd as well. That's ridiculous. Like, he may have just saved them in this scenario because that round was starting to get out of control. Again, 2 smokes is all they have left with 1:10 on the clock. For, well, do you expect anything less? All the way aggressive, but I think the T side should be expecting these sort of plays. If there's any team they've looked into, it is MIBR. Like, that'll be the one they probably learned a lot of the stuff from initially. Fallen, I think, has been the figurehead of Brazilian CS for such a long time that if Furia didn't know about him, I'd be almost shocked. Here we go, though. Fur is going to be able to catch off one. Yuri available to get the trade, so not too much of a problem. 40 seconds left on the clock, and you can see Fallen starting to rotate his way back onto the A site. In fact, it looks like KNG is going to go into a position where he can rotate much faster. This is the first time we're actually going to see a proper play onto this A side, but it's in a 2 versus 2, so it can't really test the full defense. It's all left onto Fallen. The rotation going to be a little bit further behind, so he needs to at least get a kill, but they don't even check for him. He's just going to wait, but he kind of whiffs the spray a bit. That gives a chance for the trade to come in. They're trying to deny the plant and just failing miserably. Fallen goes down with well, doing damage, but that's about it. Now it's left onto KNG. He hits that first flick to deny Yuri anything more, and it's on to Caserado, but he hits the headshot. 8-1, a big round from Furia, and I think Fallen's going to be absolutely kicking himself.
I literally just talked about this after the pistol round with Taco hiding in Toxic. How many times have we seen the trigger discipline come in from these players, and it just doesn't work out for them? Obviously, there are some situations where it does work out in their favor, but that's unfortunate because that was a round they needed. That was a round they needed to lock down and probably finally put 2 on the board and obviously have a stronger buy into this round. But they do have the AWP. They give it over to Fur to go for the early pick in towards mid. He's not going to have anyone to challenge up against just yet, but...
Did he buy it himself?
I'm assuming so.
That's definitely interesting. Like when you have 2 AWPers, as MIBR do, Fur, only going to get 1. Not really worth it for the amount of money that was invested here. If KNG can retrieve it, and you can tell, he can smell that all from a mile away. Vinny, however, will deny any further rotations. KNG, ooh, he's got a chance here to actually catch up Vinny. That's exactly what he does. Turns it into at least a 3v2. He's managed to get the AWP, but I wonder now if it may just have to be that moment where he decides to save. It's still peeking, but after that shot's been taken, he has to just run away. Orb kept into the next round, which, if anything, is a big deal. Because if he can keep this and he can hand it over, or hand a gun over, I should say, to somebody else, then the buy for the next is not bad. If not, then it's a bit more of a problem. And I imagine Fur would just be playing an MP9.
I was going to say, is he going to be able to keep it? Because with the money that Furia has, there's no need to hold back. You might as well go for the chase on this to deny the AWP, but it looks like he's going to be able to run away from that. He'll be able to hightail it, unless something ridiculous happens. There it is.
Too quick. And he really has been on fire. I think he's relishing this competition to play versus MIBR. And wow, they're now sat 9-1 into the lead. And well, I'd be interested by the purchase in the next round. I assume that it will just be for taking an MP9. Like, that seems to be a weapon that he actually enjoys playing. So maybe that's why he went for that big solo warp play to try and do some damage. Even still, though, it's not one of the situations that you really want to be seeing yourself in round 11.
Yeah. Especially on the CT side here, where Furia have been controlling the entire pace of this game. And Furia actually going to be the ones to take a timeout here, and I kind of like that.
We see them do this before, actually, when they're like firmly in the lead. Like, I think they did it at 9-4 yesterday versus Envy, when they actually look to convert the last 2 rounds of the half. Is, okay, we've got a ridiculously big lead, but if this finishes 9-6, then it's not even that bad a half. Like, MIBR could still turn that around, especially with the pistol. So let's just calm ourselves for a moment, talk about what we're going to do in this round, and make sure we don't give anything too crazy away. But hey, that's not a bad start for KNG. He's already going to be getting the first pick. That was that aggressive peek, actually, over towards Monster, just to give them that early frag.
Not a bad idea for MIBR to go for a play like that, and not to mention they have a massive stack at the B site. And even with Fallen on a quick rotate to connector if they need it, they have the read perfectly. They know where Furia is going. It's just whether or not they can hit these shots now or play around the actual situation. Any moment now we should see smokes and flashes and Molotovs all thrown in. Fallen, he's going to be the playmaker here. That's the first. He gets the tag onto Henny, or to Art, sorry. And yet somehow Henny and Caserado has been able to open up the site. But would they expect more players to be here? Would they expect the other 2 now as Caserado picks up another kill, able to just pretty much push in by himself and pick up these frags. Taco hiding inside of the smoke. 15 HP. He's got a dream, but Caserado is waking them up. He's the alarm clock in this round with 3 kills.
Still a chance, though. Art's going to go walking into his crosshair. Taco manages to back around. The problem is he's so low on HP. That nade is even going to do the damage. Caserado is on fire so far in this series. He's been playing well throughout the tournament, but not Caserado level.
Yeah.
This is where he's hit like a ridiculous level, and this is when they needed him to. That's why he's always the person that people like highlight before matches. Obviously not today because we've got the twins facing off against each other, so he has to take the back seat, but he's 13-4 at the moment, and his entry frags on that B site have been flawless.
It has. And not even just him. Yeah. Was Vinny pushing a couple of rounds as well over the course of this match so far, has been able to just crack open that side, and it seems like Furia have found a flaw in the defense of MIBR. That was a 4-man stack on the B site with Fallen in connector, with weapons, and yet they were still able to push
advantage.
in. Yeah. And that was just K-Serrato picking up kill after kill after kill, with no assists, no flashbangs or anything coming through, just walking in and getting the shots off, and that's such a scary thing for them. 10-1 for Furia.
Well, the craziest thing about that round is if I see like a 4 or 5 man stack on the B site with pistols and I see a team running into it, I'm like, okay, they're probably going to lose this round. To have a 4-man stack versus 3 players and still losing the round is ridiculous. Like, that's something that MIBR are going to look back at that round and go, I don't even know how we lost that. Like, sure, K-Serrato was absolutely fantastic with the entries he managed with the SG, but you shouldn't allow that to happen. That should not be possible. And, well, talked about stacks with pistols. It's going to be 3 men hiding in the connector for MIBR, trying something a little bit different, a bit more aggression thrown in this round. Something definitely needs to change, but even if they manage to get the last few rounds of the half, this would still be a phenomenal T-side coming out of Furia. Vinny going to be edging his way in here. They haven't really played too many players around this angle. He shouldn't get away with too much, and yeah, KNG is going to be able to trade that frag back. That's an SG at least picked up, and he could give that over to one of the players with Kevlar. However, the main problem now is that the A site is going to completely fall into the control of Furia. So even with that early victory, winning this round is tough.
And K-Serrato's position as well. He's going to shut down KNG most likely. Here he will be able to take down Taco. Come around the corner, but not have a chance. And K-Serrato just takes that weapon out of the hands of MIBR. They played it perfectly. Fallen's going to take a chunk of nade damage. And Yuri's going to get the sprayed onto him. I don't know what's going on in this match, Tom, but Furia are looking so damn good. Where were they yesterday? They were not playing anywhere near like this. But it seems like that sleep they had last night, maybe some talks this morning, has just worked out so well in their favor.
Well, the other thing as well is when you sort of consider 2 matches within this tournament being the easier ones, and then maybe your focus switches and you make some mistakes. Like, it's very, very common in Counter-Strike that when, like, you play a weaker team, you sometimes play worse than if you're playing the top teams.
You play, like, down to their level.
Just look at, like, Virtus Pro. Virtus Pro is one of the greatest examples of that of all time, where they could go to a tournament and win it or get to the final, play against some of the best teams in the world, and they never even managed to make it out of ESEA. Like, that's, like, or, sorry, MDL. Like, that's insane. Like, obviously that's online and offline, so it is slightly different, but even still, the same applies.
Yeah, you've seen them back at V4, Future Sports Festival in Budapest, was very confusing, because that wasn't a team we expected to make it past Mouse Sports, or a team we'd expect to make it into the finals, and yet they were there.
Well, 11-1. A phenomenal T-side. The other thing to mention as well is, like, MIBR, they talked about like how they've looked to improve Inferno. They've clearly done some work on Vertigo, but they haven't had a whole lot of time. So they may not have done that much when it comes to Overpass. This was a map that, at least historically, was very good for their team, at least when they were one of the best in the world. So maybe just thought that this would be one that either wouldn't be picked or they wouldn't necessarily need to practice as much. Clearly, there are some problems here.
And there's 4 players again on the B site. And if Furia just walk all over the site and get these kills, I don't think this map's going to really last much longer. Yuri gets another kill, nice little flashbang. Penny comes in. Taco, well, he'll get one, but one and done. And now it's all in Fur yet again by himself. And Furia are going to go up 12-1 so far in this half. Can we go back and change our pay safe card pick'ems? Because I probably should have just, stuck with Furia instead of switching to MIBR last second. Because this is just ridiculous stuff out of the Brazilians.
Well, that was the thing. When we were in the green room, you were going, okay, I'm going to go against all of you. And I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. And then we get to the desk and you don't do it. And I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, to be fair, I did already submit my pick.
That is true.
So I didn't want to throw production off.
Well, left in a save once again. This is a problem with being the one player who isn't playing B every round, is he's just left in like a 1 versus 4 almost every single time. And, well, this is madness. Even if you look at this and think, okay, this is Furia's map choice, this is one that we haven't seen too much from MIBR, this is just all-out brute force aim battles that are being won by Furia. Like, there is very little strategy involved in this other than the fact that they're going, yeah, the B side looks good.
Well, they have like 4 players there, or 5 in the vicinity, and they're still not able to win with the gun rounds. So it doesn't matter about necessarily, I guess, map choices or whether you're good or bad in a map. You're just not hitting your shots. You're just getting completely outplayed in every sense of the word.
The interesting thing as well is, like, so far in this tournament, the MVP for Furia is Art. He's not even really done too much. He has 6 kills, and they're winning 12-1. Like, it's the rest of the players that have just gone off the chains in this map, and it's very exciting to see going forward into the next one, but
no.
are they going to be able to find anything here? Nice shot from Taka. I feel like he's been the one man who actually has managed to have a little bit of impact. Finally, Fur steps up as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see the pistols finally be able to do some damage here. Taco is going to get another, and even KNG just whittling away at Vinny is going to make things more difficult. Yuri does get the kill, but even he's tagged low, and Taco, he's got his 3rd Deagle of this round. This man looking to win them one finally. It's a quad kill off the back of his Deagle. It has been pretty damn good throughout this tournament so far, but the fact that that's only round number 2 on the CT side for MIBR, it doesn't really make me too excited.
Really, it doesn't. And it kind of scares me for the rest of the series. I mean, obviously, like we said before, this was Furia's choice. And then having Train second, chosen by MIBR. I think is I want to get to a 3rd map just because I want to see these 2 teams play Mirage.
Yeah,
I want to see the head-to-heads. I want to see the Twins. I want to see Fur up against Art. But with the way the game's going, I don't know if Train's going to be much different. But obviously see what time does take us there. And Lucas, being aggressive towards Connector, does get the first kill on the Vinny, who's been very impactful in terms of opening up these sites. Him, K Serrato, even Yuri a bit. And then again, Fur on the flank. I mean, he should just do this nonstop every round, considering how this T side has been out of Furia and how they've gone A once.
Look at Yuri. He's so aware of it, though. He's so aware that Fur is going to be coming around in this direction. It's good the fact that Fur has decided just to wait patiently, but...
K Serrato.
Yeah, he's gone all the way up.
They have so much time. He has so much time to flank around behind him and open B.
It depends the way they go about it, though. If he does what you said and flanks around onto B, that's great. But if the T's opt to try and rotate back to A, they're screwed. Because you have, you also have players like watching onto short as well, so there's no safe way to do it. But I think he is going to start making his way down, and this is where things could get a little bit scary now for the side of MIBR. However, look at Fur. He's now started to make his move forward. He's seen all the nades starting to be expended. This is all going to come down to time. And it looks like Fallen's even watching to heaven. He finds K Serrato. He expected that wraparound. And now these 2 players are pincered in. A nice shot onto Fur at least gives them an avenue. But surely this can't be a round that they win. Henny going to try and Molotov out KNG, but the smoke is there. And Fallen hits another shot. KNG chimes in as well. And we get our 12-3 half. The last 2 rounds slip away from Furia. But ultimately, that was utter domination.
That's probably the perfect way to describe it, Tom. And yes, I mean, they did show some life at the end, taking the last 2 rounds, like you mentioned. Yeah, Fallen expected the flank out of K Serrato, and Fur had the timing. But they needed to do that way earlier in the half. 12-3, a score in that's almost insurmountable. But I don't want to count MIBR just out yet. They obviously have the second half to play. And obviously, ending the half on a couple of round victories gives you some motivation into the next half. But obviously, you're going to look at that scoreline for MIBR and try to focus up, figure out what you could do a little bit differently on the T side, and hopefully take some rounds away from Furia. We'll see how that second half is going to break off in a couple of minutes.
Take a dive before you dry off. It's the only way to live. You can't be without it, baby. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Try before you sign off. Shit can kill the sick. Real stars. It's the only way to live. Fancy cars and the smiles of the ocean. Purple sky, let that night come with peace. your sign, though. They ain't count on that. They ain't count on that. They ain't count on that. Show what you gon' do. They don't want all that. They don't want all that. They don't want all that. Rush. Pick up, I know to be right on. Yeah. 'Cause no one really gives. Don't look back, I'll keep your eyes on. Long ago. Doesn't matter what it gon' cost. Never gave a shit. Real soul. Let it take a hit. Hey. Who's getting high on emotion? Look around. People fight all their life for some peace. Yeah. Look around. Fancy cars and the smiles of the ocean. Purple sky, let that night come with peace. Anywhere you wanna be. Anywhere you wanna be. Yeah. Hold up your sign, though. They ain't count on that. They ain't count on that. They ain't count on that. Show what you gon' do. They don't want all that. They don't want all that. They don't want all that. Rush. Take off. Rush at the rush. Take off. Rush at the rush. Hot. Rush. Take off.
Welcome back, everyone, to the ESL Pro League for Americas. We are in to the final day of Group A. And by the end of today, even with the crazy hecticness that can happen within this group, depending on who wins what, we will know who's going straight to Adenza and who's going straight to the group stage, the second group stage, and who unfortunately has to go through relegation again. And we're going to see Furia be on the CT side, already off to a strong start yet again. 3 players in towards Connector. Vinny be by himself on the site. Will they expect him to be here? Well, it's not going to matter right now. There's actually a player behind him, if I wasn't mistaken, who actually snuck in towards CT spawn. The problem is for him, there's going to be no one there.
Yeah, this is weird. I don't know how Vinny's still alive. Like, KNG's finally turned around, but yeah, they're going to double back. I think that's the right decision here. Give them a chance to reset the round and ultimately have a chance for KNG, but ooh, are they going to read into this? Already a couple of players starting to make their way back, but luckily it's going to be a safer plant from Lucas onto the truck. I don't know if they'll expect anybody to be here this soon, though. That's the only problem. And Fur, I definitely think he was caught by surprise. He still manages one and actually gets the second. He's given them a big chance in this round. Still, though, Art and Henny rotating back in, make it just down to 1. And Art isn't going to do anything either. Lucas with a triple.
How does Fur win that? How? They're both peeking him. They're both shooting at him. And he gets the kills. He's like, you know what? Finally, I get some action. Finally, they come my way. I don't have to just wait at long A and then rotate around as we already lost it. He picks up 2 kills that I think just saved him the round. That was phenomenal out of him. And again, like, he should never win out in that situation.
Fur is magical, Jason. That's why.
I can't argue with that after what I just saw, to be honest.
Well, the lifeline is going to be gathered up. That round was looking like an absolute mess.
There's 3 letters in Fur, and there's 3 letters in Neo. You see the one?
Well, not in this round. Gonna go down to Art, but KNG is there to clean things up. Maybe just wanting to give him that extra little bit of cash to allow him to get an AWP ASAP. And, well, now we should finally get to see a little bit more out of Furia. Not that we haven't seen quite a bit already. A phenomenal T side, but now they move on to, well, what we assume to be the favored side of the map, but who even knows at this point? There's a possibility for MIBR to now just try and recreate what their Brazilian brothers have done on the other side. Normally I say that,
quite
and
literally.
it's not literal. It's quite weird. It doesn't happen too often. I think there's another set of twins as well. I think it's Relaxer and Freddy Frog, a couple of Swedes.
Yeah, there's not many like family members playing against each other in esports. There's not really even many like family members who cast together. I know there's one over in the UK with Ketchup and Mustard. They do a lot of fighting games. But that doesn't matter because we're into some CS. And MIBR have a long way to climb up this hill. That's called Furia. And I think Fur's going to be happy to already have a good start in this half. He was so quiet, but not necessarily due to his own doing in the first half, just for the fact that they kept going the other way. But now, 9 kills currently. Being left to his own devices as he's going to be looking to push over towards long. In the meantime, you can see Lucas trying to lock down this connector position. He's going to spot out Vinny. Get some damage done, but he'll be able to maintain this position to allow the rest of his teammates to push towards A.
To get a little bit aggressive here, but he's not going to be the one getting the opening pick. It's actually off the back. Vinny instead. Oh, so aggressive. Has to be careful. He doesn't just hand that kill away, but look how much time there is left. 30 seconds. If he goes down, they could be in real trouble, as now the A starts to look a little bit more open. Bomb's actually going to be dropped. They have to go back and get it. Yuri isn't going to be able to get that kill, but it gives space to Henny. And now KNG, only 51 HP and 2 players left to find. 13 seconds as well. So much to do in that small amount of time. And just look at them. This is smart from Furia. We do not have to fight this man. And while that's it, it's already done. Henny gets the kill anyway. It wasn't necessary. He'd done enough at that point. 3 kills for him. He really is having a phenomenal series. What a time to step up, because he's had some good matches. The same for Quesarado, but he's not been the one like leading the way. We've looked to Yuri, we've looked to Vinny, and we've also, of course, looked to Art. But the other two have sort of been like just moving along, like doing a decent job. Now they're the 2 best players in the server.
It's really nice to see this as well. The fact they're playing so smart. I think Vinny, by the way, getting that initial kill in towards connector. We talked about Lucas having control, and he went for the peek. He spot out Vinny. Wasn't able to hit the shot, though. But with Vinny getting that kill, giving the initial man advantage and give them the ability to potentially push in through connector. And you really have to wonder what's going on within the MIBR camp. I wish I knew Portuguese to listen in on what they're saying, because this is obviously not the kind of result they expected, especially in this match, considering they have control of their own destiny. If they win this series, they're into the finals. They're into Odense. They're going to Denmark. But if they lose, this is where things are going to get interesting. They might have to fight for survival in the second group stage.
Well, they've gone for an investment here. This could be the last-ditch effort from them. Otherwise, the likelihood is they won't get a buy until overtime, which, well, considering it's only round 19, that is a bit of a worry. Is actually going to burn down quite a bit. 44 HP is all that remains, and considering he doesn't have a whole lot of support, sure, he's got Henny on that saved AWP who can help him out a bit, but they don't actually have any presence over to long. This could be interesting. Luckily, Furia are going to take this time to move back. Will now be positioned to actually defend from this point. But it has meant that a lot of control has been gathered, and that's Art making the spot. Can they actually stop him from getting away? I think Fur should be able to do just that. And again, it's going to be an opener off of Art's aggression. It works sometimes, but other times it could be the bane of this Furia team's existence. Henny, he's got some support now. Fantastic nade onto Fur. Flashbang goes over it. He's going to be given space to actually take a pick. The remaining players looking to come around, but there's Quesarado once again. This tag team just shutting down the push. Fur thankfully gets the trade, but in the meantime, Henny's fallen back. He's been so good with his positioning throughout this map so far, not giving them anything. And Fur's literally going to have to peek into his crosshair if he wants to try and take him down. And the problem being now is 25 seconds left on the clock. They're slowly being surrounded. Vinny coming in from behind is not ideal, however, because he only has a UMP. It's not the weapon you really want in this scenario, and that's why he has to go through the toilets. Lucas now goes for the plant, and he's going to deny it. Fur left with nothing he can do, and it's 14-5 for Furia. Money broken for MIBR, and only 2 rounds before this first map is done.
Henny playing so smart, always playing in a position to escape after hitting the shot. He catches out Fallen. That flashbang came through. I think that was out of Quesarado. It forced Fallen out of position, then he hits the shot. And then for some reason, Fallen kind of turns his back to that actual position, maybe expecting there to be no one there, considering the way the flashbang came through. But then he backs way into bank, gets another kill, and then just stays alive, allowing Vinny to go for the flag with the ump. And yeah, not the best weapon to do, but considering the position you're in, you can stop them from going for the plant towards bathrooms, since Furia had the other 2 CT players in, well, CT spawn.
If Lucas dies in this round and Henny gets no kills, their KD is reversed. Like, it'll be 18-6 and 6-18. That'll be
Illuminati.
awesome. Like, unfortunately, the assists kind of ruin it a little bit. Maybe if Henny gets 2 assists in this. But look, Art looking to clean things up. Taco will be able to at least trade him out. And Nate's not going to do anything, but even still, it's mainly onto Taco once again. He has been the one player that you can say has at least had a decent performance. Everyone else has kind of just been owned. Like, there's not been anything to really talk about here. And well, there you go. It's reversed.
So clean. So clean out of Furia. 15-5 on map point. I honestly didn't really know what to expect out of them coming into this match, just based off the fact of yesterday they struggled against Envy. And we talked about this before, Tom, where they were in the lead pretty much every map. They just couldn't close it out. And I wonder if that was going to affect them mentally and start to really like wear on them. But it seems they came in today even more focused and prepared, and it showed 15-5. Like, how can you doubt that they're a strong team? But here we go, push coming so aggressively towards B. Vinny's gonna be waiting. Mark's gonna be up close, and I don't even know how he hits that shot, but he gets the first. Gonna miss out the second, unfortunately, but the rotations are coming through. The backup's gonna be there, and he will eventually fall to first, shoot him through the wall.
Okay, Serrado's still standing though. Vinny, he's hiding in the corner. Henny is going to be able to pick off one more, and it's looking like it's done. It's left all onto Fur once again. He's been used to these 1v3s in this match. Unfortunately, yet to win one. Shots being missed, but realistically, the bomb being down on the site makes this such a tough task. Nobody from Furia really needs to give him a fight. They're trying to hold angles that give them a little bit of a crossfire here, and there's the peak from Vinny. It is going to be 16-5, a dominating performance out from Furia. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that at the end of that, Henny gets 1 kill, and they may have evened it up again. I'm not